Hello, welcome to Prosy Technologies. I am Prakash. Along with me, we have Sumati, an Azure architect, to help us in this demo.
Hello everyone.
Sumati, we get a lot of files with millions of records in CSV format in Azure storage accounts on daily basis. So the requirement is to convert them to relational data format. Could you help me providing an appropriate and faster way to run this process?
Sure Prakash. To process the CSV file which holds millions of data, here is what you can do. We have the CSV file with 1 million of record in the blob. Let's use Databricks, okay, which is an optimized platform to execute Apache Spark. Where Apache Spark comes with an in-memory engine built to process large-scale data on cluster computing that would give you a better performance. And on the choice of scripting language, there are various languages like Scala, SQL, Python, R, etc. If you're looking for a performance efficient language and less verbose scripting, you can go with Python. Once the functionality is ready, you can schedule your jobs in Azure Data Factory through notebooks and push the data into Azure SQL.
Okay, then how will you ensure security while connecting the blob on Azure database?
So you need to protect the access key of the blob storage and login credentials of the Azure SQL database. Is that right?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, we can go with Key Vault to store the secrets. To connect these secrets with Databricks, we can use Scope. Let's see this in detail as we run through the demo.
Okay, that's great. Now let's jump into the demo. Let's open the Azure portal. Here we are going to search for storage accounts to create a blob storage. I have already created a blob storage. If you do not know how to create a blob storage, please refer to my earlier tutorial. The link is in the video description. Now select the blob proxy, which is the blob storage. So we are selecting the container. We have already created a container called container proxy. In that we have a file called sales report. And this sales report has 1 million records. Source data is ready in blob storage. Now we are going to open the Databricks. So in the Azure portal, search for Databricks. We have already created a Databricks with name Prosy Databricks. So click on it. Now open the workspace. So click on the launch workspace. This opens up into a Databricks workspace. In the left blade, you can see an item workspace. Let's see what it is. A workspace is an environment for accessing all your Databricks assets like notebooks. A notebook is nothing but a platform where we write and execute our code. So let's click on the workspace and first create a folder with the name demo. Then within that folder, we're going to create a notebook. So give a reasonable name, CSV to SQL, and we have a lot of languages. So we are going to write in Python. So we'll see the cluster what it is later. So create the notebook, and this is a platform where we are going to write the code and execute it. So let's go to clusters. So create a new cluster, give a reasonable name. So what is a cluster? A group of servers working together on one system to provide users with high availability and performance. This is what we call it as a cluster. And make the cluster mode as standard. Let's see what is the Apache Spark. So it is an in-memory caching and optimized query execution for fast queries against data of any size. In short, Spark is a fast engine for large-scale data processing. Then we'll see what is a work node and a driver node. So first of all, let's see what is a nodes. Nodes means it stores and processes data. So there are two types. One is a worker node and a driver node. So worker node is it performs the data processing tasks, whereas driver responsible for distributing these tasks to workers and coordinates the execution. Let's configure for worker node and driver node. So in the work node, we're going to select the 8 GB of memory, which is the least in the list. And for driver node, we are going to select the same as worker, which will be of 8 GB memory. Then we will see what is auto scaling. So here when you enable auto scaling, though it will split the works between the workers. So we have configuration of 2 to 8, but we are not going to do that. We are disabling it, so giving the workers as only 2. Let's see what is terminate after X minutes of inactivity. Cluster is a costly process. It will increase the billing when it is being used. So always make sure that you enable this option to automatically terminate after 60 minutes of inactivity or X minutes of inactivity. Now click on create cluster. So this will create the cluster. It took 2 minutes to create this cluster and finally it has been created. So click on the cluster and here we have the options of terminating it manually, or even we can restart it. Even we can go and edit the configurations. So go to our notebook. So here we are going to write the Python code. To run the Python code, we need a cluster. So connect the created cluster with this notebook. And in this notebook, we are going to see the blob connection, the Azure SQL connection, and finally 1 million record insert. Under blob connection, we need 5 variables: the access key, the storage name, the container, file name, and location of the blob. So in Azure portal under blob proxy, we can see all these details. So let's copy all these values into notebook. So storage name is blob processing, the container processing, then the file name is sales report. And with these 3 variables, we are going to form a URL, that is the file location. So concatenating the container name, the storage name, and finally with the file name. So the file location is ready. Then the next thing is we are going to configure the Spark with the code spark.conf.set fs.azure.account.key. We are going to concatenate the storage account name and the .blob.co.windows.net, and finally we are going to concatenate with the blob access key. So here comes the question. So what is blob access key and how to get the details? If you go back to the storage account of blob processing, under access key section you can see the key. So copy and paste it here. Disclosing the access key in the notebook or in the code is not a proper way to do, because access key is a confidential thing. So for this purpose, we need a different technique, that is key vault. This is what Sumati was explaining in the architecture.
Fine. Let me take over the key vault process now. In the Azure portal, search for key vault and click on key vaults. Click on the add button to create a new key vault. Enter a subscription name followed by resource group name and a meaningful key vault name. Click on the create button which creates a new key vault. Now you see the Prosy key vault created. Click on it. This opens up into a new window under which on the left pane you can see the secrets. Select on that. Now click on generate and enter the secret name followed by the access key of the blob into the value section. Click on the create button. Now you see the KV blob access key created and click on it to see the key details. We are now back to the notebook. To replace the access key with secrets, we use dbutils to connect to the secret. Now pass the KB blob access key which is created in the key vault here. Next, let's see what is scope. First of all, we have to create a scope to access the blob key. So go to the Databricks URL in the address bar. Replace from hash notebook with hash secrets / create scope and then click enter. This now opens into a new dialog box. Here you can provide the scope name as dbscope. We are the creators, so select on the create option and pass the DNS and resource ID. These 2 parameters we can get from the key vault properties. You can go back to the Azure portal and click on Prosy key vault, select the properties. Copy the DNS name and resource ID from here. Go back to the scope and paste the 2 parameters here. Click on create button which creates the scope dbscope. Now you can pass the scope as dbscope in the notebook. So this is how, by using the Azure Key Vault and scope, we ensure security to data sources.
Thank you, Sumati. Code is ready for the blob connection. Now click on the run cell to execute this code. So it's successful and there is no issue, which means that the source has been connected. Similarly, we are going to connect Azure SQL. So for this purpose, we need 5 variables: the host name, the database name, the username and password of the database, and finally the JDC port. So let's go back to the Azure portal and search for SQL Server. So click on it. So we have already created a SQL Server Proxy SQL. If you want to create a new Azure SQL Server and a database, please refer to my earlier tutorial Azure SQL Server. The link is in the below description. Click on Proxy SQL and this is a server name. So copy this and paste it in the notebook against JDBC hostname. Then we have to enter database name. So click on SQL databases under the server. This is the database which I have created. So copy this Proxy database and paste it there. While creating a new database, so we would be providing a username and password. So enter the username and password which was already created, which is Proxy, and password is Prakash. And by default, SQL JDBC port is 1433. Copy this and create a second command box and paste it there. And here you can see that as we discussed earlier, we are not supposed to disclose the credential details of the database. So we are going to follow the same key vault here. So we are going to create different key vault secrets for all these variables. Let's go back to the Azure portal and create key vaults. I have already created the key vault for all the 4 variables, the database, the username, the password, and also the host name, which is the URL. So replace them with these key vaults. And finally, we are going to create a URL using these variables. So you have to provide the JDBC SQL Server with format, with input values as host name, the JDBC port, and the database name. And now let's execute this code. So click on run cell and we don't see any errors and everything is fine. And now we are going to create a data frame to read the CSV file. Let's see what is a data frame. Data frame is table-like data structure available in Python and also other languages. It usually has data, index, and columns of the records. So let's create a data frame with the name data frame underscore file. We have to read through Spark. So spark.read.format, which is in CSV file format. That is our file type. If the infer schema is true, then it automatically detects each and every column, its data types, and it shows here. But here we keep it as false. The first line of the CSV file has header, so we have to make it true. Then you have to specify the separator, which is the comma separator. That is what we used in CSV file. The code is ready. Now display the data frame. So specify data frame and just run it. So it is creating Spark job. So it is completed, and yes, you can see that the records are displayed. So usually the display will display only the top 20 records. So the blob connection is ready. So we have created a data frame and even the target Azure SQL connection is ready. Now we're going to create another command, command 3. Here we are going to insert the 1 million records. Let's use data frame writer. It is an interface which describes how data should be saved to an external data source. And the final piece of code is connect this data frame with JDBC and provide the parameters. Here to specify the URL, which is described above, and specify the table name. Just give a table name, which is SQL sales. Then specify the mode as overwrite. If the table exists, then it will overwrite. If the table does not exist, then it will create a new table, SQL sales. Then the final parameter is properties, where we will be specifying the username and password. This data frame writer needs a library, so we have to specify the library before executing. It is PySpark.sql. So let's take this code and copy back, so align it. The full code is ready. And now we are not going to execute this entire code here. So we are going to use Azure Data Factory to execute this. Databricks and Python part is ready. Now we are going to create a new Azure Data Factory. In the Azure portal, we are going to search for data factories. Click on data factories. If you want to create a new Azure Data Factory, please refer to my earlier tutorial. The link is in the below description. Now click on Proxy ADF, which we have created. Now click on author and monitor. Let's open the data factory. So click on the pipelines on the left blade. Now we are going to create a new pipeline. So create a new pipeline. And here we are going to add a new activity called notebook under Databricks. So give a reasonable name. Now let's create a link service. We're going to create a new link service. Give a reasonable name. Then we are going to fill up the subscription, which is Proxy subscription. The Databricks workspace name is Proxy Databricks, which was created earlier. We are going to use the existing interactive cluster, Proxy cluster. So which asks for access token. So let's see what access token is. So go back to Databricks and click on the top right corner. Select user settings and select the token information here. So copy this and place it here. So it automatically restored the clusters, across the cluster. So test connection. So connection is successful. So everything is fine. So create the link service. So the link service is created now. Click on the settings tab. Now connect the notebook which we have already created. Click on browse. Select the demo folder. Notebook CSV to SQL is mapped here. Now the notebook activity is ready. Click on validate. There is no errors. And before executing this activity, let's go back to Azure SQL and check for the table SQL sales. There is a target table in Azure SQL. So click on Proxy SQL. Go to our database, Proxy database. So open the query editor. So provide the credentials. So in the left pane, you can see tables. There is no tables there. Let's reconfirm it. Run this query, SQL sales. No such table is available. So run the notebook activity in Azure Data Factory and is being run. It shows in progress and it's finally succeeded. It takes a couple of minutes. So let's go back to Azure portal and check for the same table. So it should have created 1 million records. Search for the count. Yes, finally the 1 million records has been created now successfully from blob storage to our Azure SQL. This is one of the way to process millions of records using advanced service and Python language. Thanks a lot, Sumati, for coming to the studio and looking forward for your support in the upcoming videos.
Thank you all.
Thanks all for watching the video.
Support us by subscribing to our channel for more videos. Have a great day.